take that one step further, they start voicing their problems to the wrong people, but in comparison to those people, they're still doing really well, and it can stunt someone's growth.
Oh yeah, well said.
Because then they're like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess why am I complaining? I mean, I should be grateful, which we should always be grateful. But if somebody's like, well, you should be grateful for what you have, well, just because you have problems doesn't mean you're not grateful for those things.
Right.
And something that, I wish I would have learned way earlier on in my career is that, finding those rooms to be in that you can actually voice the concerns that you have as a business owner. Like, you need to pay to be in those rooms. Right. And, I did a lot of old school networking, chamber of commerce, BNI bullshit, whatever. It was such a take environment. And it wasn't until I really started paying good money to be in programs around coaches, around other people that operated at my level or higher that I could learn from. And when you hear somebody going, oh man, like we acquired this property and here's the issues we had with this. And, we start talking about problems that you didn't even know existed before. And you're like, oh, okay, this is where I can say, hey, like I'm struggling with this aspect of my business. And nobody goes, well, be happy with what the fuck you got. Like,
right.
I'm trying to grow here, motherfuckers,
Well, it's like I had Doug Mitchell on. He's speaking at the summit too. And Doug was like, dude, I paid $40,000 to go to this mastermind. He goes, I'm in a room with these 7, 8, 9-figure companies. And he goes, I can tell you, I was the smallest fish in that freaking room. He goes, imposter syndrome was fucking real, because here I'm sitting around all these people that I didn't think I needed to be in there. And he's like, 3 months in, I had a lot of those people as clients. He goes, I had 13 years of building sales teams. And even though those guys were running these successful companies, they'd never built sales teams. They never put that together. He goes, it wasn't my intent to go in and sell my services. But as I was learning from them, they learned my background and story. They finally started asking me, they're like, would you come in and help me figure out how to build out a sales team? And so he's like, I finally had to say, fuck it, I'll just turn this into a business. He goes, I was just trying to level up. And now I got all these people asking me to do it. And that's the power of getting into the rooms with the right freaking people. I'm not saying you do it to grow your business. It's going to happen for sure. But it's going to, when you get around people that have done the things you're trying to do, when you put your head down and go, man, I'm just fucking up. They're like, look, just do this, 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 and this. And you go, fuck, where was that 10 minutes ago? Right. Because it's an absolute freaking game changer.
Well, my buddy Thomas, I know he was just on with you recently. Yeah. Thomas Keenan, him and I always talk about speed is currency. I've heard him say that so many times. And part of being in those rooms is compressing time. All the mistakes you've made, other people have made those before. Right. And if you can find the right people that are 10 steps ahead of you right now, where they can go, hey, the next mistake you're going to make is this. So go ahead and not make that one and head that off and take this course of action instead. You're like, oh shit. Okay, I just saved a year, maybe 18 months, maybe 2 years worth of strife because I got to skip a couple of steps because I was willing to voice what my issues were, and I was willing to pay in places that I know those people can help. And it's hard. I get it. Like, I remember the first coach that I paid for. I'm like, fuck, how am I going to pay for this? Like, what seemed like a lot of money then isn't anything now. But still in the beginning, it's scary because you're like, is this real? Are these people real? Or is this some MLM scam?
Yeah, right. And that's my conundrum sometimes with trying to tell people to invest and get in these rooms, because you got the bro marketers, you got the freaking the Cardone Nation, which is greaseball as fuck to me, and you got these type of places that are so they're bloodthirsty shark waters that are trying to make a fast buck. Right. So you really got to vet the rooms that you're getting into to make sure there's a value. I will say with a caveat with that, you can learn even in a shitty room. Right. 'Cause sometimes it's learning what not to do.